Welcome, this is the Pawn Sacrifice channel, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different from usual and replacing the mufflers on the 996. If you don't read GT Porsche and haven't seen me in there, this is the 996 40th anniversary edition, so it's got the power kit, the upgraded suspension, and a few other nice fineries, limited slip differential being the main one, along with the power kit. So the exhaust sprung a leak. I knew when I bought the car that it was going to be on the way out at some point, and unfortunately they have gone. I did speak to a friend of mine, so another option if yours are going. I know there is somebody mobile who does come and weld them, but I've actually decided to replace them myself. So just saying how easy it is to do this on a driveway. I can't do them in the garage because the garage is housing the 94S. If you're completely new to the channel, I'll put a link up to the top. If you enjoy car builds, I'm putting a 1.8 litre turbo Audi engine in the 924. So there's a link up to that build and how that's going, but there's a break from this just to try and get this in. The exhausts were about 800 and something pounds. I was talking to a friend, Ben, the other day, and he was saying that there's somebody locally who, or not too far from here, who's supplying and fitting them for about 1100, or yeah, around that. Basically it's about £200-ish more than I paid, so that's a decent saving and go towards it. So the exhaust that I've got, obviously, for that price, are the original Porsche ones. These are from Dansk. I bought these from Type 911, and Matthew there was very helpful getting everything sorted. There was a bit of confusion because some people are advertising the exhaust as being for the anniversary edition, when I've had a look at the parts diagram, and actually the box is the same for all cars. So I just bought those. Interestingly, they come in a nice pouch when you buy ones for 911. If you buy an exhaust Dansk one for 944, which I bought for the previous engine in the 924, it just comes in a big cardboard box. So obviously you get special treatment. So this should be relatively straightforward and relatively easy saving of a couple £100. So that's the box. I don't think they're sided. I think or actually they might be. I'll have a look when I get them both out. So I've already been underneath the car and sprayed everything with WD-40 that I think is going to have to be undone or come off, but it shouldn't be too much. What I am doing, and this has added some expense to be fair, just because I can't be bothered dealing with any rusty bolts, is I bought this fitting kit at the same time. So it's fairly straightforward. So there's a V-band that goes on there. These fittings, I think, are for the mounting points. I assume there's no captive bolt in there. Okay, I'll have to have a look for that. That was in there. And then there's just these sleeves which go obviously on there. The nice thing of having the fitting kit as well is it just means that, assuming this is the same as the standard one, I work out all of the spanners and everything else that I'm going to need beforehand. So I'm just going to get myself together and then get set up out underneath the car. So I'm taking my usual approach here, get under the car, undo the bolts, and the exhaust just drops off. Except with the 996, that's not exactly the case. Right about now, it's starting to dawn on me that actually this isn't going to be the right way, and I need to abandon this and go and have a look and find some instructions. Returning with ideas and a revised purpose, I need to get the bumper off first, so I am removing the Torx bits, T27s. There's a couple on either side underneath, and then there's another one inside the wheel arch, which is a bit of a pain to get to when you see it in a second. So it's there, it's not too difficult. So both of those need to come out. There's 3 of these bolts underneath, which I didn't really get a proper shot of. And then there's some Phillips head screws, and then that's ready to come off. Just unclip the lights for the number plate. Yeah, and then set that aside. Then there's I think it's 3 bolts that need to come off across the top of the heat shield. That's why it's not coming off. Don't want to be rough. And then, yes, there's one inside. Once that's off, then the heat shield should just pull free. And those are the brackets that need to come off. There's a longer one and a shorter one. The Blair Witchy looking one is the short one. And the bolts, that one's barely detectable as a bolt, or nut rather. Obviously that one, there's something to work with. So setting about doing the one that I can actually get to, it's just a case of get something on the bottom and then a spanner on the top. The annoying thing with these is that the way that Porsche put them on is the bolt head is on the top, and as you can see I'm needing a breaker bar there to get that undone, but eventually it does come off. Now because the bolt head's on top, you can see it's just gone up a bit there and there's no room to pull it out. So what I'm doing here, which you can't really see, is just using a hacksaw persistently to try and cut the bolt head off so that then it'll drop out from the bottom. Still sawing. This took a very long time. Crumbs. Oh, there we go. And that's the bolt. So not messing about, that was completely corroded, so let's just get on with it and cut it off. And then similarly the bolts or the nuts on those are just completely done for, so it's angle grinder time. No messing about, let's just get this done. And slides off. But I haven't got enough access, so because this is going in the bin, just cutting the exhaust pipes off. So there's the one that goes to the crossover pipe there, and then there's the one that goes down to the tailpipe. So both of those have been cut, and I'm just cutting the brackets that I can get to there, and I'm about to show you why in a second. So now just on that pivot point, although it doesn't really seem to be pivoting very easily, just turning the exhaust round to do this forward. This isn't actually the correct method of doing this. I'll show you in a second what I should have done, but can't do because of, again, rusted bolts. So you see those, well, okay, so I'm cutting that on the other side and cutting this to get that free. But you see those 3 captured nuts? Essentially there's bolts on the other side of those which you're meant to undo and then just remove that whole bracket, but inevitably these things are rusted, so you have to go about cutting the old exhaust off, which is a bit of a pain. This piece was, even once I got the bolt out, actually trying to get that support on that side which the exhaust sits to, there's still a bit of bolt trapped in there, so I was having to hammer this sort of from both sides, working up and down to eventually be able to get this free. So yeah, it just took a lot of hammering. The reason actually for this was that the bolt on the inside is where it's threaded all the way down. The thread was just completely corroded and mashed on the inside. Eventually it's out and I can then get on with the business of putting it back together. So I accidentally filled this in time lapse, but there we go. So the new exhaust just goes onto each of the brackets on either side. what I'm actually doing is just loosely fitting that up, and where the bolts go, I'm putting them up from the bottom and attaching the nut on the top on the brackets, and then just fitting the exhaust. The other side's done. It's really easy going back on, although it obviously should have been this easy taking the whole thing off. I put the back heat shield on and forgot to film it, so the lower part there, that's connected with 3 10mm bolts. Just putting the other heat shields on the side, so I'm just filming this one side, you don't need to see both. So that's all gone back nice and neatly. Oh, actually I did film the other side. So yeah, all on, and then putting the bumper on. The bumper I had a problem with, and I'm leaving this in just in case anyone else does the same. As it turns out, the heat shield was sitting a little too high. So what I've had to do is just undo that, lower it down a bit, because it was creating a pinch point that wouldn't allow the bumper to push all the way in. So got that on, that's done. 4 bolts, screws on the top, one's on the bottom. Some of these I'm leaving a little loose until everything's properly lined up. Primarily the ones on the top. The Torx T27s are going back in. All the way around the wheel arches. So that's all good. And they're nice and tight now. Now that's done, just finally tighten those up, and there's the car. And I've cleaned it as well, obviously, before showing this off. And I thought I'd show a sound check as well. The car's a bit grumpy because it's just been started for the first time in a few days and moved back and forth, and that's about it. Box is done, and what a massive pain in the arse that was. I was expecting, because it's a couple of decades newer than the SC, which you may have seen in the background, and certainly compared to the 924, it's 15 or 20 years newer than that as well. So it's just, I guess because it's a daily car, there's a lot of stuff under there that's corroded. I knew the boxes were gone. Having seen them now when they've come off, where they've gone around the seams, yeah, I probably could have, or probably should have, got them welded and saved myself some more money. But anyway, it's done, can't complain. Sound okay. Where on the joins on the back, I need to keep an eye on those. There was some, I just need to make sure once they've settled in, just make sure there's no leaks there. But yeah, for something that I thought I was going to be able to do in an afternoon, it just took what seemed like forever. Wasn't helped by the fact that I didn't have a space where I could work on it, and having to use the angle grinders, it's not something I wanted to be doing in the evening when the neighbours are trying to relax after a hard day. So it is what it is. If you've got a garage queen, or you've got a car that's much lower, relatively low miles, and just have a look under, see what the bolts are like. In theory, it's not that difficult a job, but it just seemed to take far too long. Anyway, it's done now, and the car isn't going to sound completely yobbish everywhere I drive it, which is a good thing. And yeah, I am now free to get on with the 924 again. So if you've just come here for the 996, I think I said at the top, I can't remember now, it was days ago, but I'm also doing a 924 build where I'm putting a 1.8 turbocharged engine in a Porsche 924S. So yeah, if you're interested in those sorts of build things, there's a link up the top. Otherwise, thank you for watching. For people from the regular channel, we'll be back with a 924 video next. Cheers.